changes.
The birthday
at
celebration
Pembroke.
changes.
All right, so let's all look at that.
Yeah, it said that you're gonna do it once a month. How? I mean, really? How's that gonna work?
Well, again, just for the audience, we're talking about the birthday celebration at Pembroke. And the change in the handbook comes from the Wellness Committee. Throughout this entire year, the Wellness Committee has been updating their policy and procedures based on the national.
But that doesn't come to us.
Hmm?
The wellness policy updates. We haven't updated anything.
No, these are recommended procedures. You know, they're not, the policy is the policy. We will bring that to you. But this, again, I mean, you can reject it, but the discussion, you know, over and over, and again, there will be people on all sides of this issue. We will never come up with anything that 100% people are going to agree with. Some people believe kids should eat whatever they want, and it doesn't matter if there's cupcakes every day. You know, they should have the opportunity to celebrate. Others believe that you shouldn't celebrate with food. So the recommendation from the Wellness Committee, and that was something that Margaret sits on the Wellness Committee as well. Barbie sits on the Wellness Committee. I sit on the Wellness Committee.
I didn't vote for this, though.
Well,
Just for
you
the
actually, I thought you voted for this. This was a compromise,
It was a
Barbie.
compromise.
This was a compromise.
I was
because
bullied.
But, you know, she's. Well, I can speak to that. I guess we have to get an intervention in here, but.
It didn't happen at this committee meeting.
Yeah, we didn't do it. We didn't do it.
And again, the recommendation here is trying to respond to the fact that children, we understand there'll be food in the school. Obviously, we have school lunch, which we're trying to work with that. We'll also, we have revenues, snacks that we sell. We're working on what snacks, would be the right snacks to offer. There's food sold at the school store, which isn't always the healthiest of choices. And then there are birthday celebrations that, on any given day, there could be one 3 times a week, there could be one not at all in a week. But the recommendations from the national organizations are that we want to control, while we have kids in school, the amount of food that is outside of the suggested nutritional guidelines as possible. So the thinking here was, instead of having it like you go into Pembroke and there's cupcakes all over the counter every single day, there are a number of parents that have repeatedly, and it's not just the Wellness Committee people, I hear this all the time, why can Pearlie have no food, and why is the sky the limit at Pembroke? And the fear here is that if you do it, at least if you do it once a month, however that gets coordinated, I'm not the coordinator,
That's
but
what I'm asking.
but if you do it once a month, then, there could be 3 birthdays in, your class, Anne, and the parents could get together and figure out, do they want to have a birthday celebration? And so there's a, healthy snack or a cupcake, but it's not 3 cupcakes.
But the cupcakes they get them at lunch.
Yes, they do.
What you're talking about is interrupting class time. I mean, I don't want to.
Well,
It would be at lunch also.
It would be.
Is he going to bring a healthy carrot for
Well,
your
no.
birthday snack?
No, I don't. No, I don't
Yeah.
think this
With
is.
ranch dressing.
No, you know what, Ann? I don't think the intention here is to say that cupcakes can't be brought in. I think what was concerning the parents was what they perceived, and Donna has talked about this with me, that they perceived is the frequency of it.
Yeah, and for the record, my kids' birthdays are both in summer, so I have never brought food into the school for a birthday. But
I don't think people think it's not appropriate. I think people were just trying to try to make an attempt to limit it.
And I understand that, but I want to know how it's going to be. Who's going to be in charge of organizing
Well, they were
this?
saying that the room parents could take charge of that, and once they're in September, when a room parent's selected, that's when they will then find out from the parents when the child's birthday is, and then if there's, 2 in October or whatever, then they'll figure it out.
What about the kids with the summer birthdays? And
Yeah,
again, I
what are
don't
we
do
doing with
this,
the
but
summer
when they bring
birthdays?
in, they always do something for those kids to celebrate, or they have in the
In
past.
June and September.
In June. And,
Again,
That was usually up to the teacher,
This is not a battle that people, when we first even started talking about this, people said, "Oh my God, don't touch that. This is going to be, people are going to have a Pier 6
I know,
riot over this."
because I know what I'm going to hear.
But,
Gonna
but
have a what?
a Pier 6 riot over it, okay? But the bottom line is, again, it's a recommendation. right? And the purpose of it is to ensure that there is a balance between the amount of food served to students over the course of the school day and the guidelines for portion control and nutritional value. That's the value.
What's currently the policy?
Well, the current practice, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a class,
Pembroke.
if you have a class, I think where the misperception is, because we have 500 plus students,
Right.
on any given day, on the counter, there will be a lot of snacks.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you have 22 kids in a class, you'll have 21 snacks over 180 days. So I think the reality is now, I think they want us to I guess, if there's 4 birthdays in October, then
One day.
Just coordinate
So
it on
one
day,
day
so
they're
what-
gonna have four cupcakes?
No, no,
No.
no, not,
One
that wasn't
pa-
the,
they'll
that
just-
wasn't the
they'll have like
One
one parent bring a
celebration.
cupcake
One
and one parent
celebration.
bring
Healthy,
parents.
right.
So maybe they
I'm
have
guessing.
a fruit
You're
kebab
right.
and a small
You're right.
cupcake, and somebody brings in, paper plates or a cup of juice.
But just for the record, I have at the health and wellness meeting, I don't ever, my children have never said to me, oh, I had a cupcake every day today.
Right.
It's never been like that.
Right.
It's not,
Right.
but when you do walk in, you see a bunch, but like Dr. Tiano said, there's 500 children in that school.
Right, because I have brought in cupcakes and cookies, and I have twins, so I bring in
Double.
two,
Yeah.
two trays on one day, so that I add to the misperception of there's
But they're 2 different classrooms.
right, exactly. That's the
exactly.
point. The thing that I get nervous about here is if we're going to start doing this, what about the snacks that we're selling at the schools? The idea that the kids are trading their whatever for something else. And I think that's been going on
I don't know
since
what
the
you
da-
mean, and what
like,
does the trading
if-
for something else
For
mean?
example, if a child brings in a Rice Krispie treat and another kid brings in an apple,
Yeah.
well, the kid that has the apple really wants that Rice Krispie treat, so he's going to trade. And
I don't know. I don't know how that works. but-
yeah, no, they do that. So I guess
The
my
kids,
point.
you mean at lunchtime?
Yeah.
Yeah, at lunchtime they sit there and they trade their food back and
They
forth.
put them all in the middle
So I
of the
guess my
table.
concern is what we're going to start doing. Like, at what point are we
What,
going to
yeah,
stop?
the snacks,
trying to-
I don't know what the snacks do they sell at Pembroke besides at the school store. They don't sell snacks in the
no, the
cafeteria.
cafeteria twice a week sells ice cream.
Yeah.
Right.
And then twice a week they
Right.
sell snacks.
Right.
So 4 days a week, children can purchase things in addition to their lunch.
Okay, so let me just tell you,
I don't do that,
Diane
so.
Halipowski is coming, I believe, on the 26th.
Yes, I believe.
And she will be able to provide, the Wellness Committee has had several conversations with Diane about the importance of looking at what the snacks are that they offer. For example, is there any reason that the kids can't have, string cheese, a granola bar, yogurt? I mean, why do the choices have to be the Rice Krispie square? Or, that kind
Well,
of
it's the
thing.
portion control versus the other,
Well, again, but this is why this
I don't know
stuff
this.
is so hard, because there are a lot of nuances to it. There really are a lot of nuances to it, because you're right, there's this A list, and on the A list, if you look down it, you'd say, what's healthy about anything on that list? But the reason that we're told it's okay is because it's portion control. But if we're really serious about health and wellness and nutrition, why would we offer it anyway? They
yeah,
can have it outside of
that's a
school.
ridiculous argument.
That's the conversation that, we're continuing to have, not only the wellness committee, but with Diane and, and through all of the
We've had this
guidelines.
conversation, and to me,
Yeah.
like my kids
Several
are in
times.
my kids are in the high school, so I can't speak to Pembroke, but I can speak to the high school.
yeah.
The portions are so small, my kids don't buy lunch anymore. So this whole, I just don't get it. It's like we seem to be spending so much time having this conversation about.
Well, again, we
Well, I
don't
brought
talk
it
about
up.
it
It's
very
my
much,
fault.
and that's probably
But
the
I
problem.
I just don't understand how this is going to work. I mean, if my kid had a birthday and it was they were going to celebrate and he gets to bring in paper plates. I mean,
Right,
come on.
that's
I guess you have to go back and say, what's the value of the celebration? Is it a celebration where people come together, or is it the amount of food that you're going to serve? And does it matter that you serve a cupcake for your kid because it's his birthday? I guess that's the level of conversation we had. It's we were trying to strike a compromise here between absolutely no food for any
Yeah,
reason,
that
Which everyone hates,
and everybody.
definitely.
Right.
Okay, so we figured, well, you know what? If we could just limit it a little, but still allow it to happen, still acknowledge that there are a lot of people who feel that it's important to celebrate birthdays with food. That people just wanted to restrict the amount.
Why
As
don't
opposed-
we-
But Pearlie
Why-
still knows,
why-
Pearlie still knows.
Why don't we bring it to a level of leaving it up to the teachers and the room mothers to determine you know, the I don't want to say distribution of it, but the coordination of it, but not to limit. Like, if you have 4 birthdays in 1 month, that's going to be
Do one
That's
one
once
a
a
week.
week.
Yeah,
One a week.
Exactly.
exactly. As opposed, because if you only have 21 kids in your class, you're using up a quarter of your
Well, there are
students
some
right
months,
away.
there are some weeks that we will have like 24 birthdays.
Right, so
some in
maybe
the
that's
classroom.
when you leave it up to the teacher and the room mother to say,
Right, to talk to
you
those
know
parents,
what, we
maybe."
have, this is our birthday month, can you do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? And then be done with it.
Okay.
I just don't know
so
how to-
would
how
you
to-
like to modify it?
Well, my opinion is
I don't
to
have a
just-
dog in this fight.
I
I'm
don't-
I don't
saying-
either.
I'm
I
just saying,
don't
as
do
a
it, but I just don't know
as a
how you're gonna
district,
do
we
this.
have
I
to
really don't know
determine
how you're gonna do
whether or
this.
not we're going to be serious about wellness
I think you
and
should just leave
nutrition,
it.
or we're going to
My
just not.
position is to leave it as it is. That's my.
As, as,
No,
What's
no,
I mean,
no.
no,
As it
Is
stands.
it because we
without
think
this.
we're giving the kids too many
Yes,
donuts?
too much
I mean, is
food.
that-
No.
Yes.
Who's but
Yeah, it
a
is.
cupcake?
That's-
I mean,
Well, I feel I have to say that I'm sure in the
It's silly.
At home, people are saying,
there are
"Well."
people that are on the wellness committee or who are representing people on the wellness committee who are thinking the opposite. And I'm just going to say that at our last wellness committee, when we were reviewing the survey, it was very interesting how evenly split many of the questions were. So, and I think this speaks to that, that there's really debate on both sides. So, again, you know, part of me feels that again,
We'll make
I was
whatever
just
change.
making,
But
it
I
was
mean,
my
if-
turn to make the changes this year. That's why.
Right. No, I just don't know. I just
But
don't
if a
know how it's
parent-
going to be enforced.
But if a parent doesn't, I mean, if there are people that feel strongly they don't want their kids to have cupcakes, then why can't they just tell their kids don't have a cupcake? I mean,
It's the whole one-way
just-
rule.
I'm sorry?
It's the one-way rule.
It is the.
or it's more, you know, it's more understanding what your child has had during the day. So when you sit down at dinner and there's cupcakes, you say, you know, you already had a cupcake today. Let's, you know, go on to fruit.
So, okay, so what is your suggestion?
Can we leave it as it was? I don't know what the was.
Well, the was is parents would bring it in.
Bring it in on, on
I
the
know,
kid's
but the
birthday.
I think maybe they coordinate with the room parent and the teacher to make sure that we don't have, you know, 4 birthdays in one day. To
I
coordinate.
don't know who
classroom?
coordinates it currently.
No one
No one
coordinates it
coordinates it.
currently.
No one does.
It's just the parent.
No.
Because before I came to Pembroke, they removed it from the classrooms because of the issue with our foundation being so close to the floor and the
Yeah.
ants. So that's why it moved to the cafeteria.
Cafeteria, yeah.
And so the teachers have nothing to really do with these celebrations at all.
The kids pick up the snack, pick up the tray of cupcakes or cookies or whatever it is on the way
The
into
lunch-
lunch,
or the
and then
lunch
they
They
hand them
hand 'em
out
out.
to their kids at lunch.
The students
Again,
in their classroom.
Whatever
Right,
you
in
want
their
to do,
classroom.
we will do. I think Margaret makes a good point, people work really hard to try to come up and, read the research, and not to say that we can't have a differing opinion from them, because we don't have to take the recommendations of all the committees. But, I think it is important to represent both sides, because there are people who don't feel like we should just be, they want to control what their kids eat at school.
Well, they can. They pack their kids' lunch and they don't give them any extra money.
Do you feel
That's
that
what I
this is
do.
a compromise?
Just that evening, this was what was
Right.
kind of agreed upon from the wellness committee, and I think there were differing points of view.
So
That the
there-
compromise, that it wouldn't end it altogether, but
Right.
it would structure it more so it wouldn't be throughout the month, but,
I mean,
but again, it was
you've
my
been
turn to write
involved
it.
with this. I haven't, and I'm new to this committee, but I know how groups work, and if you all feel it's a compromise, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But that's just me.
I'm just trying to think here, maybe celebrate.
I mean,
Donna, do you can chime in
my
here and say it
sugge-
affects you.
I mean, I understand totally what the wellness committee's saying. I absolutely get the point they're trying to make, and I think if we're going to do it, we need to do it school-wide, make it, school store, cafeteria, everything, and we're all going to make this march to be well and to
Right.
try and be healthy.
Exactly.
That being said, I still think that it's really difficult to dictate what parents bring in for their kids, because we have parents that like to bring in lunch at lunchtime too. But I think it's if we can encourage them to bring in healthy snacks, make them aware of how much kids are consuming during the day. But I do know that birthdays are so important, and we were just recently interviewing our second graders, and we said, "What do you want to tell the kids at Pearlie about coming to Pembroke?" And 95% of them said ice cream on Fridays and Tuesdays. So
Well, they they
Right.
like that.
So I think, I understand the wellness, I totally understand where they're coming from. I mean, our agenda planner is, the theme is whole health and wellness this year, and our new agenda planner, so we get that. So we're kind of torn ourselves, but I just worry about the coordination of, because it comes to us in the front office, and now we are trying to figure out, okay,